All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, it's John Nemo. Great to see you again. It's been a minute since I've done one of these, but super excited to have you joining me today for this live training on how to really get clients on LinkedIn without spamming or annoying your connections, especially what's changed, what's working in 2026. I love to have interactive trainings. So if you have a second, let us know in the comments where you're logging in from, what type of work you do. I'm going to be giving real-time feedback, if you like, on profiles and things like that today. So just put in the comments, where you're logging in from, what type of work you do. Say hello to Nicole, our Director of Business Development. She's here. Nicole's going to be super active in the comments. I'm actually not able to share comments through StreamYard, so I can talk and respond to comments, but I can't actually type stuff out. So Nicole is here to handle all that. But again, want to welcome everybody that's getting logged in from all over the place. Look at this. Already, Aiden is in from Australia. International. What time is it over there, Aiden? Is it like 5 in the morning or something? Welcome, Aiden. Tell us what type of work you do, my friend. Want to know more about you. Great to see you. Again, also another thing I want to point out as we're getting started, if you want any free resources, and I'll be sharing this link throughout, free copies of all my books. So we've got LinkedIn Riches, the bestseller. We've got some niche specific books. If you do mergers and acquisitions or exit strategy planning, there's a free book there. If you are a business coach or consultant, we've got a free book. All of these are at nemomediagroup.com/free. I've got a free book for franchise consultants. I've got the ultimate LinkedIn profile template. Look at this. I've got books for days. All of this is yours for free if you want it at nemomediagroup.com/free. So do not be shy. Open up a new tab, pop in there, just put in your email, and we will get that to you. But I got other people commenting, so let's see who else is in here. Nicole is in. Everybody say hi, Nicole. Good. Good to see you. Oh, Sandy is in, bookkeeper, money manager from Iowa. Fantastic. Good to see you. Sandy, I feel like we've talked before live, but good to see you again. All right. So then we've got Gail from Michigan helping franchisors. Okay. With their franchise brand standards. Oh, interesting. Okay, Gail. So a little bit of a twist. We work with a lot of franchise consultants, the independent, but it sounds like you consult for the franchisors with their franchise brands and standards. Okay, very cool. Very interesting. Aiden, look at you doing work, 3 a.m. in Australia. That's why you're successful. You're up grinding. I love it. All right, Sandy, good to see you in here too. So again, my name is John Nemo. I want to welcome you to the live training today. We're going to be covering a ton of ground quickly. I'm going to be hopping on and off camera. I've got some trainings and videos I want to show you. All of it, really revolving around how to get clients on LinkedIn without being sleazy, without being spammy, all of that. So again, I want to make sure that we're getting everybody here logged in, that you can see and hear us okay. Again, if you have any questions as we go along, just put them in the chat. I'll try to answer as many as I can live. Nicole will also try to point to resources and share things in the chat as well. But we have a ton of ground to cover. So the first thing I want to do is actually hop off camera and start sharing some training, because I have a lot to do. I have a lot to cover, a lot of value to bring you today. I want to make sure that we get you as much packed in here to this next hour as I can. So without further ado, just going to start with a little bit of background on Nemo Media Group, how we got here, what we're doing on LinkedIn, and then also, most importantly, diving right into the training, how to really get clients on LinkedIn without being spammy or sleazy. So without further ado, let's dive in. So just in case, if you're not familiar with me, if you're not familiar with my story, I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to be a LinkedIn lead generation guy, and I'm going to get featured in Inc. magazine and the New York Times and on LinkedIn's blog talking all about LinkedIn lead generation, right? That's where I am today. That's where I've ended up. In fact, even the robots love me. Even AI, if you put in, or at least recently somebody shared this as a screenshot, who are the best lead generation experts to talk to about LinkedIn lead gen? ChatGPT actually put me number 1 on their list. So there you go. I got that going for me. The AI loves me. And where that's led to now today is having a full-scale, done-for-you LinkedIn lead generation agency. Yes, I have incredible fashion sense. That's just a side benefit of working with us, is my Zubaz pants. But I've rewritten LinkedIn profiles for a lot of big-name people. Bob Berg and John Lee Dumas and lots of other people have a whole full-service agency. We have a lot of fun. And the core thing that you want to know is we've helped countless, small business owners and consultants and others, get incredible results from LinkedIn, making 5 and 6 figure sales. So there's a lot behind the tips that I'm going to teach you today, what I've learned, how it all works. And I really want to start with my own story, where this all came from, because it's going to show you how to use LinkedIn. And the whole thing started, it's a crazy story, back in 2012. And at that point, like a lot of people, I was working a safe 6-figure day job. I didn't have to do anything different. I could kind of, put my career on cruise control. But I really had this hunger. Every single day when I would come home from work, and I actually have a picture of it because it so resonates. My 3 boys would run to the front door. They were really young at the time, all under the age of 10, and they would yell, "Daddy's home!" And here they are mobbing me at the door. And it was killing me being at this corporate job, commuting across town, all that. And then I felt like it was missing my kid's childhood. And so I really decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a shot at this. I want to build work around my life instead of the other way around. So what I did was I quit a safe 6-figure day job. I had enough money for 30 days. I had a whole 1 client. And again, this is back in 2012. So I quit my job. I have enough money for 30 days and 1 client. We also had no savings. In fact, we probably had about 20 or 30 grand in credit card debt. But I said, forget it. I'm going to try it, right? That's just my personality, not the recommended blueprint if you want to go into business on your own. But it's what I did, right? And so I also told myself, at that point in my career, I can always go get another day job. I want to take my shot. And so I opened Nemo Media Group. I had a very exciting first office, very high end. Hopefully you can see an image of it right now, but it was my laptop on top of an empty Super Pretzel box. That was the office, the first office for Nemo Media Group. It was just me in a corner bedroom. And what I realized when I did this back in 2012 was there was an opportunity with LinkedIn that I didn't see other people utilizing. And I really wanted to take advantage of this, and that's what I did. And using the approaches I'm going to show you in this video and in this presentation, I was able, in those first 90 days back in 2012, by myself, sitting in a corner bedroom, with the soft pretzel box in my laptop, I was able to generate $135,000 in new business, new clients from just random people on LinkedIn. So I was able to replace my day job, and I was able to start building a business, and I never looked back. And so I really want to walk through how this works and what the first key step was. And what I realized back then, and what is still true today, is your LinkedIn profile is where everything starts. If you don't have a really well done LinkedIn profile, you're kind of dead in the water. It's like, inviting people to a party at your house and your house is under construction or dilapidated or it's missing the door, right? And people are scared to go inside because something might fall on their head. So you've got to have a really good LinkedIn profile. And the big eye opener for me, the big change that I made was turning my LinkedIn profile away from being a resume, which is still what you see so many LinkedIn profiles today. They are like an online resume. You talk in the third person, you lead with your job title, you lead with descriptions of everything you do all day, every day. And of course, the only problem with that is no one cares. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about me. They only care about themselves, morning, noon, and after supper. That is a quote directly from Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I literally built my entire business off that quote, that nobody cares about you, nobody cares about me, they only care about themselves. And so with every aspect of my business, I've always tried to figure out, how do I implement that? How do I apply that? When it came to my LinkedIn profile, I quickly realized, man, my LinkedIn profile reads like a resume. It's just all about me and the different jobs I've worked. And again, the only problem is if I want to use LinkedIn for business and to get clients, I got to make it all about them and what I can do for them and the key problems I can solve. So I really started here. I started with understanding the one client I had at the time was a debt collector. And so I'm pulling up the part of my profile. I had worked for a couple of years for a debt collection trade association, doing public relations and social media and video and all kinds of stuff. And in those couple of years, I really learned a ton about the industry. And I talked to debt collectors all day, every day. And I realized, oh, okay, I now have an education in this industry. There's no learning curve. I know how it works. I know what the pain points are of a debt collection agency owner in terms of sales and lead generation and marketing and websites. because I would talk to them all day, every day. And so, again, when I started my own business, I only had the one client who owned a debt collection agency. He had met me through this trade association and was like, when you go on your own, I'm going to be your first client. And sure enough, he was. So what I did with my LinkedIn profile, and this is the first really key thing you want to do, is really repurposing each part of it to appeal to a target audience. One simple place to do that, let me show you, is with your LinkedIn headline. So what you do is, most people, again, their LinkedIn headline is going to say something like, CEO, Nemo Media Group, or whatever. Or some people will try to be really clever with their LinkedIn headline and say lead generation ninja, or they'll try to write like a couple of long sentences, filled with hyperbole and, industry jargon and things like that. And what I have really found, doing this over the last 12 years, is that you want to have a LinkedIn headline that basically does two simple things. Part one is you talk about the service you provide in your LinkedIn headline. And the second part is you say who it's for. So service I provide, and then the target audience I serve. So if you look at my LinkedIn headline right now, it's super simple. I provide this service, done for you LinkedIn lead generation. That is the service I provide. Who do I provide it for? Small business owners and consultants. So that was the first key step, was a simple thing of changing my LinkedIn profile headline. And that's something you can do right now while we're talking. Again, just use that simple formula, the service I provide plus the target audiences that I serve. I'm muted. Sorry. So let's actually do a quick real-time exercise. Let's see how sharp you guys are. Go ahead and type into the comments. Give me that little template for you and your business, the service you provide and the target audience. Here, I'll actually put it up on the screen. So what I want you to do is fill in this blank for me and put it in the comments. And let's see if you can nail this. So I want you to change your LinkedIn headline, whatever it is right now, to service you provide for a target audience. And again, the idea is very simple. For me, it's, done for you LinkedIn lead generation for business owners and consultants. And the reason this matters so much, when you think about LinkedIn and how quickly everyone is skimming and scanning your professional headline, it follows you all over the platform. So any comment, any message, people looking at your profile at the very top under your photo is that little professional headline. And if that isn't super clear of what's in it for them, right? If you remember Dale Carnegie, people only care about themselves. If they can't figure out within 2 seconds what's in it for them to connect with you, message you, respond to your comment, they're just going to move on. And so if you've just got a bunch of, resume sounding things of CEO, random company name, or, the aspirational, ninja guru, whatever, they're going to, a confused prospect doesn't buy, right? So let's see what we've got coming in. Again, make sure, put it in the comments. This is a great chance for real-time feedback, because this is one of the things I see people struggle with most, is really understanding how to do this and do it well. There's a great line from Mark Twain where he said, I wanted to write you a shorter letter. I just didn't have enough time, because it is hard to boil down everything we do to a couple of key words. And this is a mistake I see a lot with LinkedIn profile headlines, is people put in long sentences, they put in a bunch of words. And again, you just want it to be very simple. This service you provide for a target audience. That's really what I've seen work time and time and time again. And I'll actually share some examples here in the next part of the training to really help you see how this works and how you can do it. So let me pull that up, because I think this will really help drive it home for you, understanding how it works. Okay, so Aiden's jumping in. Before I do that, let's go through a few. So Aiden, this is interesting, and I know it's 3 a.m. So improving conversion for engineering and technology companies. So the service, we could probably tighten it up. Improving conversion is kind of a benefit, but what's the actual service? Is it SEO? Is it sales funnels? How do you improve conversion? Is it consulting? So you would put your service first, whatever that is. But the second part is spot on, Aiden, for engineering and technology companies. Now, if you wanted to get even more niched, you could say for, Perth-based engineering and technology companies, if you're, specific to a region or geography, right? So we've got another one pops up. Okay. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name. I'm going to call you A Money. Sorry. Unless you want to give me your pronunciation in the comments. Social media manager. So you would want to say the first part of your LinkedIn headline, social media manager, which is perfect. That's a service for, and then say like business owners and founders. Yep. So spot on. Yep. This is good. Gail's got one in. Okay. Brand. Okay. So this is interesting, Gail. So you're close, but like if we want to dial it in a little bit more, I think you do consulting, right? So I would say consulting plus brand standards, or okay, maybe it would be brand standards consulting for franchisors. Brand standards consulting for franchisors. Because again, you're helping a franchisor with what service? Their brand standards. So that would be an idea for you, Gail. Good question pops in, Corrine. Should your headline have something special about you for differentiation? It can at the very end. So what I mean by that is you want to lead with service, Corrine, plus target audience. And then at the end, like you notice in mine, I put as featured in New York Times, or, if you have some social proof, whatever that might be. This isn't where you want to do too much marketing. You want to basically say service I provide, target audience. And then at the end, you can tag in. Oh, hold on. You could put this in. Look, Rosie. Everybody say hi to Rosie the dog. Look, come on. Is this not the cutest dog? Wheaton Terrier. Oh, where are my dog people? Sorry. This is real time. This is live. Anything can happen. You got to love Rosie. I mean, come on. All right. So James has got freelance writer. So that's fine. That's a service, freelance writer. And then say for B2B SaaS and e-commerce brands, right? I wouldn't put in all the other stuff afterward because, again, the service is freelance writer for insert the type of companies. All right. This is great though. Norma, digital marketing. Yeah. So this is close. So you got the service right there, digital marketing community strategist, and then say for what type of organization. So be real specific. Is it nonprofits? Is it, you say spiritual communities, which is close. You might say churches. So yeah, again, you've got some great stuff in there. Nicole is saying hi, Rosie. I love it. Oh, look at Art. Art is in here. Art's one of our clients. Good to see you. All right. So again, same thing with Art, and I'm sure we're working on this for you at the done for you level. But again, it would be, we'd want to lead with the service. The comfort zone demolition, I know, is a great tagline for you, but that would be more in the about section. For you, would definitely want to do consulting and coaching for, and then the types of professionals. But yes, we're all getting dialed in on this, which is fantastic. So great job. You guys are all passing the test. I love it. I love it. So now I want to go a little bit deeper into more LinkedIn profile kind of training and teaching. Okay, one more question. Karina's saying, yeah, there's 220 characters. You do not have to use them all. Sometimes less is more. The key is really understanding service I provide for a target audience. And then after that, if there's still room, if you have some great social proof or, a certification that your audience knows about, that's where I would put that. But it's not where you want to try to do a bunch of marketing copy, if that makes sense. Yep. And then we've got another one, Valeria, in. Yeah. I don't know what Z's and Zors are. You have to explain to me what that is. But marketing strategist, I wouldn't say lead gen. I wouldn't say expert. I would just say marketing strategies plus lead generation services for, and then I don't know what Z's and Zors are. If your audience knows and self-identifies as Z's and Zors, that's great. If they aren't, again, you always want to oversimplify so that anyone, including a knucklehead like me in North America, in Minnesota, can be like, oh yeah, I know who her audience is. So simple is always better in my mind than clever with LinkedIn. So without further ado, let's dive into the next section. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on the profile, talking more about ways to make it client facing and also using kind of a good example of a client of ours kind of as a case study as we do this. So without further ado, let's dive in. Catherine Bishop. And I love Catherine's story. Literally within 90 days of starting working with me on Done For You LinkedIn Lead Gen, she told me to turn off the campaigns. She's like, stop. I've got too many leads. I got too many clients. This is working too good. Turn it off, which of course is the greatest problem ever. The great part about Catherine's story is her husband actually ended up quitting his day job to come work for her. Right. And 2 years after we stopped working with her, she's still getting new clients. Obviously, the headline is key. And when you look at Catherine's, again, the riches are really in the niches with LinkedIn. So for her, instead of saying Catherine Bishop, CEO, BlackBerry Accounting, or, the business name or whatever it was, or Catherine Bishop, just accountant. I niched it to a certain industry, construction, accounting, and bookkeeping. That's the service and the audience. Construction, payroll, and taxes. That's a service and an audience, right? Tax prep and planning. And notice the visuals. I put in little kind of construction related emojis to really help it, pop visually so she could see, or when a client looked at it, they could see, oh, okay, this is what she does. This is familiar to me. Even her LinkedIn background header that I made for her years ago was a construction job site with the words, right, of the service: construction, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and more. So again, think about this, how the riches are really in the niches with a profile. She's all about this targeted niche audience of construction companies, contractors, etc. And the reason it works so well is because of her story. And that's what I want to get into here with the next part of the profile, is really explaining what makes you unique, different, and better, and why a certain audience is going to resonate with you. And now I know one key thing people always bring up is, well, wait, I'm hearing you say the riches are in the niches with LinkedIn, but I don't want to niche myself too much. I can be everything to everybody. Everyone needs an accountant, right? And this is a good example with Catherine. She does accounting for everyone. Like, she can do it for any type of business. Accounting practices and principles are the same, right? In general, tax strategies, saving strategies are the same, even across a niche of small business owners, right? So why would I niche her so much to construction, accounting, and bookkeeping? Isn't she leaving money on the table, right? Isn't this a bad thing if we niche her too much? Well, if you ask her, no, right? Like, she has so much business in this one niche. Her husband quit his job to come work for her. She's still getting clients 2 years after not, stopping with us because she had too much business already. The riches are in the niches. And if you just use LinkedIn to really appeal to one or two, maybe three target audiences to really stand out, you can be a big fish in a small pond. So let me explain to you how this actually works and how you can apply it to your profile right now. So as I mentioned, I niched Catherine to the construction audience because of her story. So, I put a lot of it in her actual profile, but again, where she talks about her story, let me get to it. Her dad was a contractor, right? So her dad was a contractor growing up. Her mom was a CPA, match made in heaven. But literally, she had to be on the job sites every weekend for her dad at 8 a.m. So every Saturday, 8 a.m. growing up, that was her place. She had to be on the job site, picking up nails, carrying boards, whatever, helping her dad with his construction business. She literally grew up in the industry. She grew up working in her family's construction business. So if you own a construction business, if you are a contractor, if you are a home builder, how cool is it to know that your accountant literally grew up in the industry and worked for her dad? And oh, by the way, her mom was a CPA that did the books for her dad's business. Now, you want to convey all that in a way that really appeals to your target audience. So let's walk through what that looks like. So the first sentence of your about section on your LinkedIn profile, this is what I love to use. And write this down, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. Use all capitals to say what I do. And the reason I like all capitals is when we read on LinkedIn, we go up and down very fast, right? So again, you want to have your text stop the scroll and stand out. You're going to do that with these capital phrases like what we do, where you've seen us, and emojis. You can see the emojis here that really pop and show, some different things to illustrate people talking, whatever. But you'll see as you scroll up and down, a lot of white space in some of these all capital letters. So the first line, you want to say what I do, or if you're representing a company, what we do. And then I want you to use this kind of fill in the blank template. What I do, I help your target audience, right, achieve their goal, something they want, by providing my product or service. So it's very simple. For me, I help small business owners and consultants generate leads on LinkedIn and get quality clients by providing done-for-you LinkedIn lead gen, right? Very simple thing. The next part, and again, you can use this template. You can rearrange these sections depending on what stands out most about you. So for example, if you have a bunch of big name clients, a bunch of accolades, a bunch of media credits, then use that. So for example, on mine, right? I've been featured in a bunch of big name publications that will resonate with my target audience. So I'm putting that up high where you've seen us or where you've seen me, Business Insider, New York Times, etc. Or if you've got great client testimonials, you're going to say what clients say, and you're going to put those up high. Now, it depends on your business and what makes you unique, different, and better. So again, with Catherine, she didn't necessarily have a bunch of big name clients or media accolades, so we skipped that. But what she did have was something that made her really unique. So again, this is a fill in the blank. What makes me unique? You explain that. She said, I've got big firm experience working at Deloitte and Duke Energy, which, obviously huge companies, especially in the South. She lives in North Carolina, so everyone knows. Obviously, Deloitte is, international, but Duke Energy is big there, where I implemented projects that saved the company $300 million. Okay. Oh, wow. So at a very big level, she worked on projects that saved, big companies hundreds of millions of dollars. I've even taught accounting at the college level, and I have a CPA and a master's. So right there, you're saying that makes her different than a lot of everyday accountants as she's worked for these big companies. So again, what makes you unique, different, and better? And then we talked about the story, industry experience. And again, notice the unique kind of construction themed emojis to help visually have it pop. And again, you tell the story, grew up on the contractor sites. As a result, why does this matter? I really have expertise around the unique, industry challenges. It was the same thing for me with the debt collectors. When I first started marketing myself on LinkedIn, I was saying, listen, debt collection agency marketing services, what makes me unique? Having spent 2 years working for the largest trade association in the debt collection industry, I have unparalleled insight into and understanding of the unique challenges debt collection agencies face. And that instantly built trust and rapport because, again, a prospect wants to feel like you've walked in their shoes. So some of the other, elements that you can put into your profile, let's keep going, where you've seen my work. So if you have big name clients, you can list them out and use unique emojis. You can also talk about what makes you unique, which we talked about there. Again, I'm using examples here. Services I provide. So I like listing out the services you provide, again, as a bullet list. And these are services that your clients are interested in. So again, maybe if you're in accounting and CPA, you can say these things: accounts payable and receivable, cash flow analysis, financial reviews, whatever. For Catherine, we did it very construction themed, right? So construction accounting, bookkeeping, construction cost control, and job costing. You know what your clients are looking for in terms of services, so you can put it in there. Again, problems I solve, you can even try that. Time management challenges or dysfunctional dynamics. Like, you can list out these bullet lists of items of what you do, the problems you solve. Maybe you want to say benefits my clients realize. So that can be where you talk about these are the benefits they realize. If you're a coach or a consultant, that works with teams and companies, right? Increase this, increase that. Words like increased or improved are great, right? And then an actual tangible benefit, right? Increase productivity, increase profitability. Use that. So who I work with, this is another one. You can then list out the types of audiences. And these are just examples from client profiles that I've rewritten, but you can see how clear cut this is. If I'm scanning up and down, this isn't a resume. This isn't you talking in a third person. It's, oh, okay, this is what they do. This is who they work with. I can self-identify. If I'm a property manager and I see that you work with property managers, I immediately trust you more and you have more credibility because, oh, good, you work with people just like me, right? Or industries I work in, right? You can say, these are the industries I serve and what I do. For client testimonials, put a few of those in, have it say what others say, and just paste that in and use a little talking emoji. It's super important. I see this a lot with testimonials. Use the full name and the company name so that people can actually verify it's a real human. Don't just put like Catherine, accountant, because you can be making that up. So use a real name and then just a simple little call to action, ready to talk, here's where to connect, all that good stuff. So again, this all goes in your about section, and then your experience section. You can see what a difference that makes scanning up and down, being able to see. You can also put in a section, my story, kind of a quick little story, ready to talk. One thing I would really recommend is in your experience section, being able to list multiple audiences. So this is something where, again, you've got your company here, and then you're going to have positions. So for me, because I use, different multiple audiences, I've got one experience or position listing for small business owners. I've got another one for consultants and business coaches. It's the same service, but I'm just niching it more to those audiences. So in this one, it's all about small business owners. In this one, it's all about coaches and consultants with specific examples, testimonials, and services for those audiences. This one's for franchise consultants. This one, might be for whatever else. So again, under your experience section, this is how you can hit multiple audiences. You can have, one listing for small business, one listing for consultants. Again, it's the same service in each one, but it's different audiences, different examples, different testimonials. And you, again, find that under experience. Just keep adding positions and you can keep creating that. And that's really what goes into having this client-facing profile, where now when people look at it, they immediately know from looking at your headline and your about section, what's in it for me? What does this person do? Do they work with people like me? What services do they provide? Would I even want to connect with them? All that, goes through a prospect's mind, and you want to answer that question for them up front. So there you go. That's a quick look at profiles. I got more to share with you here in a second. I keep forgetting to unmute. Sorry. I want to come back on live here because, again, want to put you through another exercise. You probably didn't realize showing up today, you have to participate, but I think it's really helpful to put these into practice. So again, even just try this. If you want to have my feedback in the comments, like we did earlier with profile headlines, try to fill in this blank. This would be the first line of your LinkedIn profile. And it would basically be, what I do. I help. And then you want to insert your target audience, get 2 to 3 things they want by providing my product or service. If you think about the first line of your about section, your LinkedIn profile, think about the clarity that provides for a prospect. Again, the whole Dale Carnegie dynamic of people don't care about you, they don't care about me, they care about themselves. Someone reading your profile is going to want to know, is this for me? Do you work with people just like me? Can you solve my problems that are keeping me up at night, my biggest pain points? So that's why I love reverse engineering it as this simple fill in the blank sentence of, I help this, these 2 to 3 types of, target audiences, whether it's a type of company, a type of professional, whatever it is, and then talk about what they want. What are the 2 to 3 benefits they want? What are the biggest pain points they have that you solve? Talk about that. And then say, by providing at the end your service, if it's consulting, coaching, SEO, auditing, whatever it is, you'll find that when you do that, again, clarity is the key. People then understand, oh, okay, you work with people just like me, you solve these problems that I have, and you have this specific service, which I don't want to do myself. And that's really the key to this. Now, another thing, and I'll share all this in a second, but again, I have a whole template for this, so you can actually get this on the Nemo Media Group website or linkedinriches.com. I give away the whole thing for free, the whole template that we were walking through. So you can download this as a PDF at nemomediagroup.com/free. And I'll share info on that a little bit as well. But if you want any feedback, try that sentence. It's really, really powerful because, again, it really helps you understand the dynamic that needs to go into what I call a client-facing profile. And when you do this, you really separate yourself from 95% of profiles on LinkedIn. Because think about your own profile, or when you go and look at random people's profiles that invite you to connect, 95% of the time, it's all about them. It's a resume. They're not speaking to you, to your specific situation. And I think that's such a key thing to really understand. And thank you. Yeah, Nicole is sharing the link here, so you can click on that for the free tips. And again, I want to keep going because I know we've got a ton more to share here. So again, feel free as we go along, put more things in the comments. I want to share another quick tip of how you can kind of create some of those bullet lists quickly and then dive into more training here. So let's do that. I want to show you just a real quick trick with our friend ChatGPT for your profile page. So, if you're like, I don't know how to pick out the right emojis, and how do I get the right ones, and how do I do it tastefully, and how do I make sure all this looks good? go into ChatGPT and put in a bullet list. So in this case, basically, let's say these are different types of companies I work with, whatever my service is. And you just have a simple prompt for the bullet list below, insert a unique emoji related to each item it describes. And then you just hit submit and it will spit the list back out and it'll instantly have kind of tasteful emojis, right? So builders, construction, hospitals, business coaches. Now, maybe you don't like that one, so you can tell it to change it, financial planners or banks. So again, you can say, let's go down here and say, I don't like the one for business coaches. Show one with a person. And then it'll try again, right? And then it'll put one in front of, a coach, someone teaching. And then if you're still not sure, what you can do is you can say, give me a list of business related emojis. And it'll just spit out a ton of them, and then you can copy and paste them. So this is another tip for you where it'll literally say, okay, here's any and all emojis related to business. So then, like, if you're doing something about increased profitability, you can grab that. Or if you want to say consulting, you can get a briefcase, right? So again, you can get ideas from AI to quickly kind of help you organize some of these lists. So we've talked a lot about your LinkedIn profile, and I can go much deeper on that. In fact, here, let me show you a new window. If you want, I have multiple free books on this. So again, just go to nemomediagroup.com and you can actually get the ultimate LinkedIn profile template. That's everything I was showing today. You can actually get a copy of any of my books, right? I've got one for business coaches, franchise consultants. LinkedIn Riches is for small business owners and everyone else. Just click on one of the images and then you can download the free template if you want to go deeper. I don't want to do it all on this call, obviously. If you want fashion advice, I'm here to help. Zuba's pants for life, right? Minnesota Vikings are going all the way. This is our year. Don't stop me. Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. So let me come back. Again, if you want more tips, just go to nemomediagroup.com and you can grab more free resources. They're just here on the homepage. So when we talk about LinkedIn, obviously starting with your profile, and we've touched on that. Once that's ready, really all the money on LinkedIn is in the mailbox. This is one of the great things that you're going to feel good about after being on this webinar, is that you don't have to do everything else. LinkedIn has all these different features and all these different things. And I know there's a million and one gurus that are going to tell you, okay, you need to publish 700 pieces of content a day, and you need to go in and comment on everyone's posts, and you need to spend 4 hours a day, liking things and blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to tell you, having done this since 2012, let me just check. I have done this since 2012. I've seen every feature possible on LinkedIn that they've added. You need to, go in and you need to write this many articles, and you need to do short form videos, and you need to do, this and that and this and that. And it's like, I'm just going to tell you, all you need to do is one-on-one messaging. If you want clients, if you want business on LinkedIn, all you need to do is one-on-one messaging. All the money is in the mailbox. So with that said, obviously you need to know who to send your one-on-one messages to. And again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on how to find your leads on LinkedIn. That could be a whole training in itself. I recommend that you get Sales Navigator, which is an add-on premium product. And then you can go in and you can build lists of all your ideal leads. So you can literally go in and you can tell LinkedIn, I want people, who have this type of job or this job title or this seniority level. They've been in this role for this many years. Even they've recently changed jobs. They've recently posted anything and everything. They went to this school, there's so many different filters. So it's not hard. It's not a problem to find prospects on LinkedIn. There's over 1 billion people on here. Now you can use the basic search and you get some good filters if you want to start there. I really recommend Sales Navigator. I don't get any stock or any kickbacks. If you're serious about it, and this is what we use for our clients, I would definitely use that. And then again, once you have lists of prospects, you're just going to reach out one-on-one with messages. And I want to spend a lot of time now talking about what goes into a good one-on-one LinkedIn message. This is it. This is the whole package in one simple sentence. The simple secret to generating leads on LinkedIn is you craft a client attracting profile, which we've covered, And then you use personalized one-on-one outreach that puts the real life you into the engagement. So I'm going to show you that next. The final part is also offering some free content that will demonstrate your expertise and helps people get to know, like, and trust you. I'll cover that in a minute. Right now, I want to talk about the one-on-one outreach because we've covered all the different ways you can do it. And I want to explain now, what do you actually put into a one-on-one message and in-mail, etc. So I use this example. Let's say one of the clients we work a lot of times with is franchise consultants. So that's a niche audience here on LinkedIn. They use us for done-for-you LinkedIn lead generation. So what am I going to say to a franchise consultant on LinkedIn to get them to talk to me? Because we know everyone's getting inundated with messages and offers and spam and all that stuff. So first, I'll obviously build a list of franchise consultants, and then I will send literally one sentence, one line. I'll say, hey, name of consultant, can I send you a free digital copy of my book, LinkedIn Lead Gen for Franchise Consultants? And what that is I literally have an ebook I made just for franchise consultants on how they can use LinkedIn. And the whole point of this is I want to demonstrate expertise and show franchise consultants, hey, if you want to use LinkedIn to get leads, I literally wrote a book on it. Like, you can have it for free. So what I do is I literally just offer that as one sentence. Now, I don't do a bunch of personalizing in the first message. The simple reason is, and I know, a lot of people will say to you, well, listen, John, the best thing you can do on LinkedIn is go look at the person's profile and put a bunch of personal commentary in there, talk about, oh, I see you live in Minneapolis and I see, you work here and you went to this school, and all of that is great, by the way. Talk about where I went to college and, where high school and, different things I volunteered at. Those are all great, but you don't want to do that first. The reason being, if you reach out to a prospect on LinkedIn and you do all that extra work to hyper personalize your messaging and say, hey, I was looking at your profile. I see you live in Minneapolis. I see you went to this university. Do you still follow the sports team? Hey, it's really cool that you volunteer there. I do that too. I see you live here. How's the weather? All of that's great, and all of that will get people to respond to you. But what if they're not a prospect? What if they don't need your service? What if they're not looking right now? What if they don't want to buy? As my brother-in-law, who's a great salesman, taught me years ago, he's like, I don't need more friends. I need more clients, right? So, like, you can make friends and do all that, but it's going to take so much time. So what I do, my first message is a qualifier. It is kind of generic, right? But it basically is qualifying them. Can I send you a free digital copy of this free piece of content? Or I'll say, hey, insert their name. Can I send you my best free tips on blank, which is something they would want. So my best free tips on how this target audience can get a benefit they want. So really the one sentence message that you start with is, hey, can I send you my best free tips on blank? Or can I send you this free content I've created that helps you get this outcome? You're wanting to use these messages to qualify. Think about this. If someone says yes, they're interested in the content, now I know they're a lead. Because if they're saying, yeah, I want to know more about how to use LinkedIn to get leads as a franchise consultant, guess what I do? I help franchise consultants get leads. Or if they say, yes, I am interested in tips on how to do ABC, since you provide that service behind those tips, now you know they're interested. That's when I go deeper. So then I'll follow up and say, hey, great, here's a link to the free content. And then I'll say also, unless LinkedIn is misleading me, because again, sometimes people have things listed wrong on their profiles. I always just cover my bases and say, unless LinkedIn is misleading me, it looks like you live in Chicago, and then I'm a sports guy, so I joke, my apologies in advance if you're a Chicago Bears football fan, right? And now I love sports, so I'm going to gravitate toward that, but there's plenty of other things you can do. You can see, hey, here's the free content. Also, I see you live in Chicago. I'm planning a trip there with my family. Like, just be a real person. Like, what would you say in real life if you met someone from Chicago? What would you ask them? What would you comment about? Would it be the weather, the sports teams, the museums, the universities? Like, you'd have something to say to them. How do you like living in the Midwest? Now, you do that when you know they're interested. So part one of the messaging is, are you even interested in this topic? Do you even want tips on it? Is it even something on your radar? Because you'll have people write back and they're like, actually, I'm retired. I don't use LinkedIn anymore. Well, that's great. That's fine. I can take you off of my list. I don't need to follow up. And again, I didn't spend all the time personalizing the outreach. Now, if this person writes back and says, yes, send over the tips, then I'm going to go look at their profile and I'm going to be able to instantly add some icebreakers. The other thing that we do for clients that I would definitely recommend you do is track all your messaging. So the fortune is really in the follow-up. We create Google Sheets where we track every conversation. So these are all people that I'm talking to on LinkedIn, first name, last name, what their job title is, what campaign they responded to. So I know, I did a campaign offering a case study about this. They responded yes, or they responded yes, they're interested in the book. And then we timestamp everything in terms of, did we offer to book a call? Did we follow up? The fortune's in the follow-up. So for example, if I offer someone a free book and then they say, yes, send it over, I'm going to make sure that I follow up here to see what they thought of the book. And not just once, but I'm going to space out the follow-ups every couple days, whatever. And if they say to me, yeah, I'm going to get to the book on Monday, I'll make a note in here and I'll follow up Monday and I'll say, hey, did you have a chance to check out my book over the weekend, or did Netflix get in the way? Haha, like you do a personal follow-up. Because once someone responds, now you can start having a conversation. Yeah, I loved your book. And then you say, well, what resonated? What did you find helpful? I really like the part about changing the profile. I really need to do that. I'm so embarrassed by my profile. It does read like a resume. Ugh. And then I can say, oh, that's so great. I totally can relate. I'm so glad you found that helpful. Well, do you want more advice on how to do that? Did you know we actually rewrite profiles for you? How can we help? Do you want a course on it? And then that's where you can kind of move people into a sales conversation. So again, we track every single engagement, comments, right? What did they say? I'll give you an example of one for a client, just so you can see, these are all people that we're talking to. These are the campaigns, color coded, right? Which event, which message, did we follow up? Did they book a call? Having a second call, talking to them, do they know them, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously we're pulling emails and phone numbers too, because you can do a warm phone call or a warm email, because you can say, hey, I know we've been bantering on LinkedIn. I thought it might just be easier to call you or email you directly, with the whatever you were looking for. So again, the messaging is very simple. Step one is you really just want to qualify them and you want to offer some sort of free content. And then step two is if they say yes, they're interested in the topic or the tips, you deliver the content and you start personalizing the message. In this next section, I want to talk a little bit about how to actually create the type of content that we're talking about here in terms of what people really want, what works well on LinkedIn to get people saying, yes, I want to read that or see that. All right, so I know we're covering a lot of ground, but kind of to recap the basics of what we talked about, step one is getting that client-facing LinkedIn profile. So it's all about how you help your target audience get what they want. Step two is using Sales Navigator or a similar tool to kind of build those lists of your ideal prospects, because LinkedIn has this great database. You can reverse engineer the 1 billion members and build lists of this exact job title, this industry, this location, this many years in the role, whatever it is. Now that you do those steps, now all the money's in the mailbox. One-on-one outreach. I call it digital door knocking, right? Going one-to-one, person to person with that simple one-sentence message. Would you like my best free tips on how to create a LinkedIn profile that attracts your clients? Would you like my best free tips for franchise consultants? Would you like my best free tips for how business coaches can do ABC, right? Would you like my best tips specific for, mergers and acquisitions and exit strategy planners, right? So again, you're qualifying them by saying, do you want my best tips on this topic? If they raise their hand, there's a need, there's interest, there's desire there. This next part I'm going to talk about is really where you do a lot of the heavy lifting, the pre-qualifying, the pre-selling. So before you ever talk to someone live on a phone call, you use this content first, content being the currency to really kind of buy their time and interest and attention. This is a critical step a lot of people miss with LinkedIn lead generation, is they do one of two things. They either publish tons of short form content that just gets flying all over the place and people miss it, or they don't use any content and they immediately try to marry someone on the first date, send their first one-on-one message and say, let's have a call. And it's like, whoa, come on, man, buy me a drink first. Like, I don't even know if I like you, right? So this next section, I really want to focus on what goes into that content that really will get people engaged, and more importantly, helps qualify leads even more, so that by the time they talk to you live, they're really pre-sold. So let's dive into that as well. I want to talk about what type of content to offer people on LinkedIn. Remember, the money's in the mailbox. It's in these one-on-one messages, and you're going to offer some sort of free content, free tips, etc. What should it be? Should it be a video? Should it be a podcast? Should it be, a blog post? Should it be a newsletter? And here's the thing. I've done all of that. We've done it all for myself and for my clients over the last 12 years. Done for you podcasts, YouTube channels, videos, webinars, blogs, articles, you name it, right? I have found time and again across every vertical, every industry, the number one thing that gets the most yes replies on one-on-one LinkedIn messages, far and away, right now, and it's been that way for multiple years, is ebooks. And when I say ebook, this is what I mean. It's basically a PDF that is really well written and designed that tells your story and demonstrates expertise. So again, this is an example of Jim, a franchise consultant we work with, what it really takes to succeed in franchise ownership. So this was free content that he offered to corporate executives who were curious about franchising. And it starts with Jim's story, right? Like many great entrepreneurial journeys, mine started with some late night pizza, right? And he talks about his corporate career, and you've got real authentic photos of him. That's the other thing. You want these ebooks to be you, not stock art, not stock images, but the real life you, telling your story, but then also demonstrating expertise. So another example is Carrie Ann Golliver, another franchise consultant we've worked with, where she's going to tell you her story. Here's a guide to navigating, the investment opportunities with franchise consultants. And again, tell your story. So Carrie Ann's ebook starts with, I figured my brother-in-law just had too much wine during dinner. Instead, the phrase he blurted out changed my life. Whoa, what's going on, right? So tell a great story, explain, what happened, tell some tales from the trenches, and then really, help people understand who you are, what you do, why you're the expert at this, and then how and what they can learn from it. And so we've done this across so many different industries, executive presence, sales trainings, right? Female executives, for coaches, leadership ebook. This is one of my favorites. Just the cover is so cool that our designer did. Business and personal growth examples. And again, having great storytelling. Now, these are all ebooks I've written for clients, but you get the idea, right? My career started with a lie. I was 17 years old, boom, whoa, like you got to hook people with a good story. And then again, use real authentic photos, and then demonstrate expertise, leadership principles, leadership lessons, etc. Now, you can also do case studies. You can, do how-to books, like how to make your law firm profitable and fulfilling, right? This is a coach for, attorneys and law firm owners, all about placing you as an expert. So here's another example where we've got a client that does, luxury homes in Arizona. So guess what? We're going to showcase that, but we're also going to niche it to a target audience. So in this case, we're saying it's for out-of-state realtors, the out-of-state realtors guide to high-end home design. Because you think about people, in the Midwest or East Coast or, wherever they want to build a luxury home in Arizona, they're going to go to their local real estate agent and say, do you know anyone? How do I build a home in Arizona? The idea now with LinkedIn and this client is they're going to use LinkedIn. They're going to reach out to high-end realtors around the country and offer this free ebook. Hey, do you have any, clients that are interested in building a home in Arizona, a vacation home, a second home, whatever? If so, we're happy to share this ebook we put together that gives you all these tips. And again, this ebook goes into depth and shares their process and shares their tips. And then it also shares the story of this company and how they have become, this leader in building homes. So again, that's why I love ebooks is, again, it can be on any topic. Real estate, it can be super niched to your audience. Again, we've done them for everything you can think of, right? Investing, attorneys, retirement planning, 1031 exchanges. Listen, if I can write ebooks about 1031 exchanges, anything is possible. A great ebook is going to do two things. It's going to tell your story so that people get to know, like, and trust you. And it's going to demonstrate expertise so they actually can walk away from it going, oh, okay, well, if I did want to explore franchise ownership, I actually got some tips in here of what to look for and how to do it and everything else. And again, that's the same thing I'm doing with my ebooks when I say to people, hey, do you want a free copy of my book, LinkedIn Riches? It's all about how, small business owners can use LinkedIn, and I'll send you a free digital copy. And what you're going to see is, again, these are the types of replies I get on LinkedIn. They read your book. You did a great job with the book. I want to talk to you. Please send me your calendar and set up a Zoom. Here's why this works. think about this. If you contact someone on LinkedIn, and again, your first message isn't, I want to meet with you. It isn't a sales pitch. It's, can I offer you some free tips? Can I offer you some free content aimed at solving a problem you have? And they say yes. And if your content delivers on that promise, if it actually does a good job educating them, showing them how to do something, helping them understand how to solve a problem, and it tells your story, and they get to know, like, and trust you because they relate to your story, your journey, your tales from the trenches. Now, by the time they actually get on the phone with you or do a Zoom with you, they've gone through, a 3, 5, 10,000 word ebook all about you. They've already kind of warmed themselves up. They already come in feeling like they know, like, and trust you. And that's why it's so important to qualify prospects with content, because again, it makes your job much easier than, well, okay, we connected on LinkedIn and I booked a call, and who are you and what do you do and what makes you unique and different and why would I listen to you and do you even know what you're doing? Have you worked with people like me? Blah, 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 blah. All of that can be answered in that content. So again, that's the one piece of content that you need. You just do it over and over and over again. You take the same ebook and you just offer it again and again and again to prospects on LinkedIn. The beautiful thing about this I love is you don't have to create 50 status updates every day, and you don't have to do, short form videos every day, and you don't have to publish 100 blog posts and all this. You just need one good piece of content that people will be able to read and consume that really helps illustrate who you are, what you do, and why you're good at it. And then you just follow up with them until they read it and go through it. And then they're like, yeah, this is really good. It really resonated. I'd love to see how you could help me with the same thing. So I hope that comes as a relief that you don't have to do all this. Again, if you are publishing tons of content on LinkedIn, and I publish lots of stuff, newsletters, articles, videos, all kinds of stuff. It doesn't hurt you one bit. None of this will hurt you. It's just a lot of work, and it doesn't lead directly to paying clients. Even my own stuff, I publish all the content because it's just good to have awareness and be visible and be out there. But what moves the needle, even for me to this day, is one-on-one messaging. Period. End of story. So that's really what I want to drive home. And as we finish up, I want to just say the 3 key things, if I go back to, my own advice on the secret sauce, it's simply, step 1 is having a client-facing profile, and I've given you some tips on how to do that. There's more resources. Step 2 is finding your prospects and doing that one-on-one messaging with that simple kind of one-line, one-sentence thing where you basically say, do you want these free tips? And then offering some sort of free content that demonstrates your expertise and helps people get to know, like, and trust you. If you do that, if you just do the simple 3 steps in here, you're going to have more business than you know what to do with. And you can wear a popcorn bucket on your head if you want bonus points, right? But I hope that gets you fired up. I hope that gets you inspired to really look at LinkedIn differently, to understand what's possible. And most importantly, to go back to the premise of this whole thing, it's going to help you generate leads on LinkedIn without having to be spammy, irritating, or annoying. Because again, you're not doing anything that would irritate people. All you're doing is you're reaching out to people one-on-one, you're offering content in one sentence, you're asking permission. Notice in these messages, I'm not including the ebook. I'm not assuming the person wants the ebook. I didn't include the PDF. I didn't include a download link. I asked permission so they can just very politely say, no thanks, not for me, not interested, I'm retired, whatever. Nobody ever gets mad at this. No one's getting mad at this one line of, oh, you want to send me free tips? How dare you, right? Like, there's nothing about this that is going to be spammy or pushy or sleazy, or again, you're not asking for anything. You're not asking for an appointment. You're not asking for them to fill out anything. You're just simply saying, are you interested in this topic? Can I send you tips? If they say yes, then you nurture it along, move it forward. So I hope that fires you up. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this. And we'll go from there. So definitely covered a lot of ground today. And I appreciate the kind words from Sandy and other people. I'm glad you're finding value. Before we finish, I'm going to answer some questions. So if you have questions, put them in the comments. I'm here live. I'm happy to answer. Also, obviously, I know people are asking, like, well, how do I do some of this? And how do I create this? Or how do I do that? So we actually, whether you know this or not, we actually do this for a living, right? Done for you LinkedIn lead generation services, done for you content. If you want to learn more about that process and see if you're a fit for us and our agency, just comment DFY. And Nicole or someone on our team can follow up and message you. There's no like big sales pitch or anything like that. We actually are super selective about who we take on as done for you clients. We only work with about 30 clients at a time, and we have a team of 20. So we keep it very small. And there's a reason we succeed with a very specific type of client. So we do a lot of client selection, a lot of client screening. So all that's my way to say, if you're interested and you want to learn more about the services, there's not going to be any big pressure attached. We're going to basically try to talk to you and learn more about your situation to see if we even think we can help you. And if so, like maybe have a call or whatever and talk more. So all that said, if you want to learn more about those services, just type DFY. We can follow up with you about that and definitely see if there's a way we can help you. And if we can't help you at the done for you level, definitely we'll point you toward free resources, trainings, etc. To make sure we can get you value and all that. So with all that said, I want to go through. There's been a few questions. So I know Octavio asked, how can I create an ebook? So there's a couple of ways. Obviously, you can hire someone. We write ebooks a la carte. We can get you a quote on that. You can hire a writer. The thing with the ebooks that I really want to be clear about is some people try to take shortcuts and they just use AI and they just kind of, copy paste and try to, do a sloppy kind of Google Doc, and it's not really designed well. People will judge a book by its cover, right? So that's why our ebooks that do really well with our clients is high-end graphic design, high-end quality custom writing that tells a great story. A great ebook is 50% your story, your journey, a narrative about you, your hero's journey, and 50% demonstrating expertise, frameworks, case studies, client stories, etc. So I would say if you're a great writer, right, and you think you can do it, do the writing, but then pay somebody to design it. If you're not good at either one, then hire somebody like us or, a writer and a designer to do it for you. The key thing I found, though, is this is what works best. And then people ask me this all the time. Well, what about videos? What about webinars? What about podcasts? What about articles? And I'm like, I've done it all since 2012. The number one thing across every niche imaginable, B2B on LinkedIn, for all these hundreds of clients we've worked with, is these ebooks. For whatever reason, they get the most yes replies. They get the best level of engagement. They do the best job pre-qualifying people before they get on a sales call. And again, it's a 3,000 to 5,000 word PDF. That's 50% your story, 50% demonstrating expertise in case studies. And that's really what works well to get people engaged. So we've got more questions. I love it. I love it. All right. So how many pages should be in the ebook? I mean, it could be anywhere from 5 to 15 pages. I'm talking about like an 8x11 PDF. I do more word count. I would say anywhere from 2,500 words to 5,000 words is good. Just whatever you've got, right? So, yes, all great stuff. I love it. I love it. All right, Aiden is asking, at what point do you send an offer? Again, this is the strategy I like to do, Aiden. Like, I don't want to immediately, clog up my calendar with unqualified prospects. I don't think that's a good fit. So what I do is, obviously reach out to them one-on-one, offer the free content like the ebook. Then I want to make sure they actually go through it. So before I make an offer in the sense of, hey, we should have a call or whatever, I'm going to follow up and say, did you have a chance to read the ebook? And if they say, no, I'm going to get to it over the weekend, then I'll make a note and I'll follow up Monday and say, did you have a chance to get to the ebook over the weekend, or did life get in the way? Because I know that before they get on a call, if I can get them to not only look at my LinkedIn profile, but to read a 2,000 to 5,000 word book about me, my business, my story, my background, and all these tips and things that, I can show them how to do things, then they come into a sales call warmed up, pre-sold, and pre-qualified. They already know my framework. They already know my backstory. They've already heard from clients. They've already seen case studies. They've already seen me demonstrate how we solve these problems with frameworks and things that they resonate with. So I don't rush the offer, so to speak, just out of desperation. I really want to have people qualify themselves. It's just so much easier in terms of a sales process to have someone, my business coach calls it brand indoctrination. The more they've read content about you, the more they've followed you, have they been on your email list, have they listened to your podcast, the more content you can put them through first before you ever have a live discussion is what I would recommend. So there's no hard or fast way to do that. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, this is a good point. You know, time is definitely a cost. Trying to do this yourself versus investing in an expert. You know, great point, Kareen. Is, you know, and I think that's the key thing is, you know, with a lot of our clients, you've got to know what you're really good at, you know, and it all depends on ROI and time, right? So for me, could I do my own taxes and do my own bookkeeping? Of course, I could use AI and Google and, you know, do the paperwork and track every expense, but that's not a good use of my time, right? It costs me in terms of the time it takes for me to do that when I can outsource it to an expert who will do a better job and do it faster, and you're paying for that expertise. So great questions. I think Art had one about podcasts. Yeah, so podcast guest appearances can work really well for LinkedIn marketing. I know we've talked a lot about that, Art. You know, it really just depends on your approach and your targeting and understanding, you know, what is my end goal here, right? Is my end goal to get people, you know, as coaching clients? There's multiple ways you can do that, right? One is offering that free book, which is my favorite method. Another one is figuring out how to get on, you know, shows of people where, you know, they have a big audience that you can be in front of demonstrating expertise, like we've talked about with live coaching, etc. So all of that works really well. All right, so we had another question. Yeah, what ideas can I use as a social media manager for an ebook? Examples like case studies. What have you done for clients? Like, I did this campaign, I took steps A, B, and C. Here's what we did. Here's how it worked out. Again, a simple case study is what it was like. So when I met this client, this is what their situation was. What happened? Here's what I did. Here's the steps I took. And then the third part is what it's like now. And the end result was A, B, and C. And if you don't have that yet, if you don't have the case studies, then just create what I would do for this audience. So pick a niche audience and say, you know, social media management for attorneys. If you're an attorney looking to improve your social media presence, blah, 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 and solve these challenges, here's the exact process I would take you through as a social media manager. My first thing I would do is this. My second thing I would do is this. The third thing I would do is this. Here's the specific steps unique to attorneys that will help you with social media and getting your end result, end goal of getting more clients in the door, right? That's what I would do, is just demonstrating that expertise. So again, hopefully that answers all the questions. Yeah, I know Valeria asked, do you have a second favorite for people that already use Sales Navigator? I mean, as far as prospecting, that's the best one to use. There's not really a different tool you need. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions. I think we got it. Yeah, I think we really got everybody covered here. So love it. All right. So again, thank you everybody so much for watching today. I will get a replay posted here. If you want to learn more about our services, just comment DFY. And we will follow up with you about our LinkedIn lead gen services. If you want more of the free resources, just go to nemomediagroup.com/free. Thank you, everybody, for watching today, participating. Hope you found it helpful, and hope to see more of you soon. Take care.